Mary, let's talk about our culture, because whether we like it or not, we're Africans, and we always have to consider culture. So people have said that culture must evolve. But if culture must evolve, we cannot disregard the importance of hierarchy, the importance of structure in the home. Yes, you and I are married. There is hierarchy now. I mean, I'm assuming there's hierarchy in your home, in hierarchy in my own. So there's a perception that once you hear feminism in Africa, we're asking that the women should dominate the homes, overtake the place of the father, and be the one that has an upper hand. Could you help me clarify? Is that what feminism is? Or is there any sanity in that, having where the woman is 50-50 in the home? So let me just make it as simple. Is it 50-50 you want, or is there somebody on top?
Okay, let's even have a conversation around the leadership of the man in the family.
Okay.
So in our culture and most cultures of the world, so the man, I mean, there's need for structure.
Definitely.
It's very important.
Right.
You cannot have maybe two captains in a boat. You will both rock the boat. Right. There's a place of leadership.
Right.
And in family settings, the man is the head of the home, right? Right. But don't forget, there are also men who do not have very good, clear-cut leadership quality. And those men are being supported by their wives to be a better man. And to the world is the man that is doing everything. But between both of them, the man knows where the wife is his strong support, right? Now, I would liken it to, you see, where they miss the point. It's like you work with TVC right now, right?
Yeah.
And then at TVC, there's a chairman, there's somebody who leads that organization, isn't it?
Yes.
Okay. That leader of your organization is the head of that establishment, isn't it?
Yes, absolutely.
Just the way the man is the head of the family.
Right.
Now, when that man, your boss, has a headache, what is he going to take? Panadol?
Yeah.
Paracetamol?
Right.
Or any of those?
Right.
When the cleaner in PVC has a headache, what's she going to take?
Same thing.
The same Panadol?
Yes.
Paracetamol. Their humanity is the same. That the boss is leading that organization does not in any way make him a higher human being. Neither does it make all of you who work under that organization, under him, inferior beings. No, he is there playing a role of a leader. And the earlier we all get this, sorted out, and we begin to understand that people are playing different roles. A man can, get a woman pregnant, but he cannot birth a baby, at least for now. A man cannot be pregnant. So everybody have their defined biological roles. And honestly, Moraya, apart from those two roles, every of these two individuals can do a whole lot. Because the world today is not it's not about macho anymore. It's about what you have here. And that's why you're having a lot of women are bank CEOs, and those banks are doing well. And then coming down to our culture. What is culture even? Even in our culture, if we look at culture, culture needs to evolve. It is still about these privileges that patriarchy has given the men folk, which also puts a lot of pressure on them, where you're having to see that a man will have to work his ass out trying to provide, when his significant other can actually help him so he can breathe and the family is happier. You see? And then when we talk about our culture, a culture that cuts the woman, takes up the woman's clitoris so she doesn't enjoy sex, is a very wicked culture. And these things have to evolve.
Right.
We also have a culture, if we have to live in our culture, my cousin who is a twin, alive today. She would have been killed. It was our culture then to, in my community, in my place in Igbo land, we were killing twins because we didn't understand the medical explanation of why two babies will come out. So imagine now that people are even having triplets and sextuplets and all that. They will just kill all of them. But culture will evolve. It will evolve, you know? And we all look forward to that, evolving this culture in a way that both the man and the woman can work in a more complementary way than man versus woman. It shouldn't be a war.
Mary,
we should just
let me ask this question, because I mean, I've been in conversations with the men feeling as if saying that we have been very unfair to them because they were born into the society. You call the society patriarchy, but they were born, they are raised in this. This is what they've known all their lives. So women just wake up tomorrow and say, yes, we're feminists, we don't want this anymore. That it doesn't just quite work like that. That we've not put together a proper structure in place to fix this problem. We just want a 360 change. We want men to wake up tomorrow and say, yes, if we're all the same, that shouldn't there be a proper system, a proper institution that we create to gradually change things? We just want them to wake up and just change the way we've been doing things all their lives. That's the kind of conversation men are having. And you don't wake up
Morayo,
Go ahead, Mary.
Do you want me to respond to that, Morayo?
Yes, please, go ahead, please.
Okay, so it is not true that there is no structure. Okay. It is not true. Okay. I think that what these men are seeing are probably the angry women, the wrong kind of feminists, people who maybe have cause to settle with their boyfriend or somebody, you know, that didn't treat them right. Well, why don't you treat people right, really? So there are people that I call angry birds, you know, and their utterances sometimes also miffs me as a person. But there are structures and there are people who understand gender mainstreaming, who understand gender advocacy, who understand how to pursue the right laws, legal frameworks, and institutional, constructing the institutional barriers that are holding down the various gender. So these people have their words cut out for them. So I don't know, I'm sure it's not someone like me that these men who are talking to you are talking about. It won't be, because even as a mother of sons, I have 3 boys, and my first son is a fantastic chef. He cooks. There's nothing he cannot cook. He will come to me, wake me up and say, Mommy, what are we having for breakfast? And if I'm still thinking about that's the toughest thing any woman is dealing with, thinking of menu. But since my boys are grown, because I've taught them to cook, cooking is a life skill that every human being must have. So you are doing your sons an injustice if you don't teach them how to nourish themselves, because they need to nourish their body, nourish themselves with food. So my son will come and say, Mommy, what are we having today? I'm thinking about it. He goes, he has washed beans, he has blended it, he has fried akara, and he brings it to me.
Wow.
And now he just turned 17. Now, it is for all of us, you know, at our various levels to do our work. Because sometimes, Morayo, we wouldn't be having this conversation because there's also a body of knowledge. And I would have said, how interesting is it that the same women who gave birth to 100% of the world's population, you gave birth to the man, you gave birth to the woman. How come you are now complaining that men are violating you and all of that? It's because we also are not the only people with this body of knowledge.
Right.
That body of knowledge is one thing, and everybody is passing that knowledge to different people at different levels.
So how do we separate ourselves from these toxic people? Because is it even the lesbian, I mean, the gay rights movement have almost hijacked this feminism concept, because we see quite a number, especially in the West, quite a number of them are pushing the feminist agenda, asking for this social equality, which is for me even, it's not even measurable. That's it. How do we even know we're making progress? How do we define the social equality that we're demanding? How do we know when we get it? Do we have, when you see there's a structure in place, how do we define that, how do we measure it? Mary, that's my worry. Do we just say, oh, when we all just start treating each other equally? How do we define it? I'm worried about that.
Well, in the past, it's been so many long years of patriarchy. And sometimes I also feel quite sorry for the men because, if you're not careful how you push this campaign and all of this feminism, you may also begin to have the pendulum tilt towards the other side. Then you have another problem in your hand where you are now trying to save the boy child, you see? So how you can measure it, I mean, there are people who are also skilled in M&Es, and you can only measure based on events, projects, and issues, and random sampling that you have polled to be able to determine where we are. But I can definitely tell you that we are not there yet, but we've definitely made a whole lot of progress, yeah? Because in the past, I'm not sure you and I, Mariah, will be having this kind of conversation. This facility, the tech, will probably just be for men alone. We won't even be here. Right. And it's all thanks to feminists. And in 2023 now, or 2019, we just had an election. We were all able to go and queue up and vote. You should also thank the feminists. That you wake up and say, no, I was raped. And when somebody is raped and a result of this rape is pregnancy, and you insist that the woman must keep the pregnancy, that is an outcome, a very bad experience. You see, feminism recognizes that the woman has a right to her reproductive self, for the right of sexuality and reproduction. She has a right to enjoy sex. She has a right to reproduce, and it has to be on her own terms. And then if she's married, it has to be with the partnership with her husband, right? So there's so many things you need to thank the feminists for. And I'm not really talking about these angry birds, honestly, because, but I tell you what, it is actually, there are bad feminists, I understand, and there are good feminists. But you see, Moraya, there is nothing confusing about feminism. You know why? If anybody tells you he's confused about this feminism because of some irritant he's listening to, tell the person whether he is confused about sexism. We are never confused about what sexism is. We're never confused about what patriarchy is. We're never confused about what misogynism is. But we are always confused about what tries to correct all of those isms, which is feminism. It gets confused because they just want to remain in that place where all these privileges that I have, that I can take any girl that I want, I can do anyhow that I want, I can bear my shirt and get away with it, but a woman bears her shirt, they say, oh no, that's not how to be a lady. But a man opens his shirt and says, oh, what a hawk. You see, a man sleeps with 10 girls and they say, oh, he's a dude. But a woman sleeps with 10 men, oh, he's a slut.
But so that's okay. So where do we put culture, Mary? I mean, that's culturally unacceptable in this part of the world. So abroad, if you do that, hey, you do you. But here we have values and culture. So for us, we've defined.
Mariah, the world. You have to be careful with this culture you're talking about. I hope you are not. You see, when you have harmful culture, some of our culture are very beautiful. Some of our culture are culture that even the Western world will throw away what they have to have what we have. That culture of respect for one another, respect for our elders, respect for different layers of people. It's our culture. It's a beautiful culture. That culture of greeting your parents when you wake up in the morning is fantastic. But any culture that denies me my rights to my father's property because I'm a girl is a harmful culture. Any of that our culture that gets me to drink water washed from a dead body because they think he died and because of his death is a very harmful culture, because you can get disease from the bathwater of a corpse. So there are so many harmful culture that we must do away with. And I always love men. There are a lot of wonderful men in Nigeria who have come to terms with all of these things. These men are constantly collaborating. They are the he for she's, and I have a lot of them in my network, and I love them. In fact, they are the best feminists you will have in this country, the men. Male feminists are awesome, because what people don't understand is that a woman can be gendered and a man can be gendered. There are men, there are women. When you are talking about a young girl in the north, somewhere in the north, who isn't sent to school, her brother goes to school and she's married off at age 10 or 9 or age 13, you are not aware that there's also a young man, a young boy in a place in the southeast whose sister is sent off to school and he is sent off to go and do boy for one trader. Are you not aware of that? So any gender, any sex, any male and female can be gendered. So we need to be careful when we discuss feminism, because feminism, it may be that it tilts more on the women and the number is more disproportionate when it comes to women, violence against women and all of that, because you have originally given men so much power and they believe a man cannot rape you if he doesn't feel he's stronger than you. He cannot overpower you. But they've been built that way. And sometimes I feel sorry for our men, even some of them that think they are different. When food comes to show, you will see the sexism in them. So
Mary,
it's a tough.
Mary, you are the expert in this.
Yeah.
So I would like you to, if it's possible, is it possible we redefine this feminism concept to fit us? Can we have a concept? I tried to come up with Afri-feminism. I don't know how effective that is, but African feminism. Can there be a concept that we as Africans accept as our own definition of feminism that considers and appreciates that hierarchy structure you and I talked about earlier? Can we have a new definition that fits us as a people? Do you think?
What do you mean? Is it not? I even think that is existing already. Yes. You can't even see a Nigerian. I mean, the FIDA president. I had visited the former FIDA president, Ezinwa Okorafo. My husband and I had visited them one time, and I saw how she was serving everybody. She's a very fantastic feminist, but she's doing her duty. Cultural. What she learned from this culture. Yes. It doesn't take away that from any woman.
It doesn't. People don't hear that part, Mary. They don't hear that part. That even a feminist can still serve.
No, people hear what they want to hear. Honestly, people hear what they want, and they are scared of what is scaring them. But you know what? I will say that it is with the situation we have in Nigeria and the way girls are raped and killed and all of that, I've come to the conclusion that it's actually better to be a bad feminist than not be a feminist at all. Because what scares these men are actually the bad feminists. So let them be there and be scaring them. Because that is now their own job, to be scaring them, because they are uttering things that even myself cannot comprehend. You see what I mean?